Welcome to the Unfuck Your Fitness podcast. I am your host, Christy Castillo, and I'm here to give you real talk and cut the BS so you can actually enjoy building a body you love. I'm a personal trainer obsessed with giving you simple action steps to take you from feeling stuck to feeling sexy. Let's go. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to today's episode. We are going to be talking today about fat loss and whether it's possible or how you can have snacks and treats and some drinks and kind of enjoy your life while trying to lose fat, while trying to lose weight, while trying to recomposition your body. And I'm excited because I'm just going to give it to you straight. I'm not going to BS my way around this, but we're in the middle of summer, right? Or I don't know if it's the middle, technically, whatever. It's the end of July. And I talked a few weeks back about, how to enjoy your summer and still see progress, or how to kind of let go of things a little bit. You can't fully enjoy your summer and lose a shit ton of fat. Let's be honest, it's not going to happen as fast as you probably want it to, but you can do both. And so I want to also talk in this episode a little bit about that, but how to do that. Because yes, you can have snacks and you can have treats and you can have some drinks. You can enjoy some alcohol while losing fat, while building muscle, while trying to attempt to reach your goals. But I want to just talk about the process of that, because I have some clients who are struggling with it being summer, and they're struggling with wanting to go out on the weekends and have some drinks and have some snacks, and even just every single day, feeling like they can't have bread or rice or oatmeal or Oreos, or, there's these list of foods that I think we all have that we kind of think they're bad, or we kind of think if we have them, maybe we'll eat too much of them, so we shouldn't. And that's fair. I'm not saying any of this is really right or wrong, but I just kind of want to get to the bottom of it. And I'm going to kind of base this episode around that fat loss while having snacks and treats and your favorite foods. That's kind of the idea, but there'll be little branches here and there. As you already know by now, I can't stick to one topic. So we'll have some little sidebars, but let's get into it. So if we are talking about fat loss while having snacks and treats, right? A lot of people that I have seen will try to, it's that all or nothing. It's like, I'm on a diet plan. I just started this diet plan where I have to drink so many shakes a day, or I can't eat any bread, or I can't eat processed sugar, or there's very specific rules to what you can and can't have. And what that comes down to is it's not necessarily the carbs or the bread or the sugar or the processed food, or the thing that you're cutting out is not it's not the problem. It's not that if you're cut out bread is the reason that you gained all the weight. So if you cut it out, you're losing weight. That's what it teaches you, right? Because you're like, okay, on this particular program, I'm having no bread. And then you start to lose weight. So you think I can't have bread and lose weight. That's not true. What you're doing by essentially following some of these diet programs, by cutting things out, you're eating less calories, right? If you can't go out to eat, if you can't stop and get your daily Starbucks, if you can't eat the shit that you usually eat, if you have to cook at home and you have to cook, your meals, and you're having some salads and you're having freshly cooked food and you're eating better, it's not the food that's bad, or it's not like McDonald's. You can't have McDonald's and lose weight. It's not that. It's that, or the bread and lose weight. It's that you're eating less. So essentially, you've cut your calories. And so now you're in a calorie deficit. That's essentially what is happening. But a lot of times when you start those programs, you associate, I'm not having pizza anymore. I'm not having bread anymore. I'm not having whatever, cupcakes, all the things. So if I put those things back into my diet, I will, gain weight. So you associate that. But that's not true. You can have snacks and treats and some alcohol and, the things that in the summertime, people are very prone to wanting and maybe having too much of, but you can have it. Here's the thing. Tracking is absolutely essential for this process. If you want to learn how to have some snacks, I'm just going to keep saying snacks, treats, alcohol, because that just sums it all up, okay? If you want to lose fat, and when I say lose fat, I mean reach your goals, but we're just going to say lose fat and snacks, treats, alcohol, just to kind of sum it up, okay? Insert whatever your goal is there or your favorite thing. If you want to lose fat, you can do that by having some treats and some snacks and some alcohol. Like you can, okay? But you have to know your incoming calories and your outgoing calories to be able to understand that. So yeah, you can lose weight without tracking. Of course, I know that you've started programs before, then you've lost weight on them and you've not tracked your macros. I get it. But chances are you gained all that shit back. Okay. Chances are when you've done something that you didn't track and you just cut bread and you cut pizza and you cut all the things, yeah, great. You probably lost some weight. You probably felt great about yourself until you couldn't not have pizza anymore and you started having those things and you gained all that weight back, plus probably more. So don't tell me that it works. Don't tell me that that diet worked for you, because it didn't. It did not work for you long term. Okay. You have to know how. Unless you know how you lost the weight, lost the fat, gained the muscle, you won't be able to do it long term. I always bring it back to the comparison of money and budgeting. Tracking your food is not obsessive. It's not bad. It's not something that's a negative, like association or relationship with food. You don't have to associate it with being good or bad. Tracking food is literally knowledge of what your body needs and what you are giving it. That's it. Just like budgeting your money. If you make a certain amount of money from your job and you spend more than that, you're broke, okay? If your body needs a certain amount of calories and you eat more than that, you're going to gain fat. You're going to be fat. That's just how it is. I don't make the rules, unfortunately, but I learned the money budgeting piece the hard way. So I understand that this is true. It's literally knowledge. You have to spend less money than you make if you want to keep any of that money. And you have to be able to eat the right amount of calories. You have to be able to consume less if you want to lose fat. So the only way to do that is to know your activity level, which we'll get into in a little bit, and then eat less than that. So you need the data to be able to know what to do, to be able to know what is working. So tracking is not that time consuming. It's not that obsessive. It's not that big of a deal. It literally, people think it's such a big deal. Oh my God, I can't do it. I can't take the time. I don't know how. It's because you're making it too hard. You don't have to log perfectly. You don't have to do any of this perfectly. You just have to log something so that you know it's there and you start to understand, right? You can round up a little bit. You can round down a little bit, just like with money, but you have to track to understand. So calorie deficit. The only way you can lose weight, lose fat, is to be in a calorie deficit. But this isn't always as simple as it seems. A lot of people are looking for their numbers online. I get a lot of questions about what should my calories be? I'm looking online and all these, websites are different. And it is, they suck. It's hard to know because they're all different. Just like tracking your macros is different. There's a ton of online calculators. If you were to put your macros in an app, a lot of apps are going to give you different numbers. A lot of apps are going to give you different calories as far as your maintenance. So it's hard. This is why it's important to get to know your body, as I've talked about in previous episodes. I did a quick Google search. I just put in TDEE calculator and I clicked on the first one that came up, and it was actually a pretty good one. I'm going to pull some information from it to kind of give you some examples here, but I literally just typed in TDEE calculator, clicked on it, and I typed in a 40-year-old female who is 160 pounds, 5'6", and moderate exercise. I think that was 3 to 5 times a week. So I kind of just took a little average here of a lot of my clients are around between like 5'5", 5'9". So those are the numbers. That's the information that I plugged in. And it spit out some numbers for me that are pretty accurate. as far as what I think they would be. So 40-year-old female, 160 pounds, 5'6" tall, moderate exercise. Again, I think that was like 3 to 5 days a week. Their maintenance calories per day are 2,189. And then if I move that down to light exercise instead of moderate exercise, that would be 1,942. So for the example that I gave, the information that I put in, it's telling me that woman should, for maintenance calories, is, I'm just going to round up to 2,200 calories per day. Not bad. Okay. I think that's actually very accurate, but not a lot of 40-year-old women who are 160 pounds, 5'6", who are moving their body pretty regularly are eating that much, quite frankly. So while that is an accurate number, TDEE also is your total daily energy expenditure. So it bases your age, your height, your weight, whether you're male or female, and then some movement. That information, it tells me that this person's total daily energy expenditure, the amount of energy this woman spends daily, is 2,200 calories. So that means to maintain that weight, this woman would need to be eating 2,200 calories a day because that's what she's spending on calories. So that's what she can consume for calories. And that would be her maintenance. Okay. If I have this woman in a cut, I would essentially deduct about 500 calories. That takes it down to 1,689 calories per day. That's a 500 calorie per day deficit. So that's not bad either. Okay. In a calorie deficit, we're going to say we're going to be losing weight now at almost 1,700 calories per day. That's crazy. A lot of you are probably thinking there's no freaking way. Let's say you're close to 40 and you're close to those statistics that I gave you. And you're like, Christy, if I ate 1,700 calories right now, I would gain weight. There's no way, let alone 2,000, right? That's why these online calculators, they're correct. But for you to just start with no tracking, no back knowledge, no nothing, and just start to eat 1,689 calories per day, that's just throwing shit at the wall and hoping that it sticks, okay? That's not a great way to do that. But if we break that down, so let me go back. I have some clients come to me and this would actually be pretty close to their numbers. That's like I said, I kind of entered right around what they would be doing. But they are eating around 1,300 to 1,400 calories per day and they're not losing weight. So I have this particular woman coming to me. The stats that I told you, they're eating 1,300, 1,400 calories a day, tracking so that I have that knowledge in front of me. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're eating about 1,300 to 14 calories per day and you're plateaued. You're not losing weight. Either you're not tracking everything that you're putting into your mouth. And I mean everything, every little spoonful of peanut butter, everything. I need to know everything that you're eating. You have to put it in there. So either you're eating more than that, or you're just maybe not tracking on the weekends, or you're not putting everything in there on the weekends. That all matters. If you're not tracking everything, then you have incorrect data and none of this matters. Okay. But if you're tracking everything and you're just I cut out this, and this, and I'm really low calorie and this is all I'm eating, I'm starving, I'm exhausted, I have no energy, I'm not building muscle, nothing's happening. That's because you're only eating 1,300 to 1,400 calories when in this example, you should be eating 1,700 calories and still be in a deficit. But here's what happened. If that's the case, that, you're only eating 1,300 to 1,400 and you're stuck. Yeah, because technically you're well, I am in a calorie deficit. If my maintenance is 2,200 and I'm only eating 1,300, for God's sake, I should be losing a shit ton of weight. That's because you've been doing that for so long. Your metabolism has slowed down to accommodate for the lack of calories that you're consuming. So your body is smart. It's trying to protect you and it has to accommodate. It has to modify its metabolism. It has to modify what it's doing to survive because that's its goal, is to keep you protected and to survive. And so if you've been consuming too little of calories for so long, your metabolism has now adjusted to that number. And that's what it's used to. So now, if you want to lose weight, lose fat, you have to deduct from there. And if you deduct from 1,300 calories, if you deduct another 500 calories, that's insane. And we can't do that. So the only way to go from here, if you're stuck and you're like, I'm already eating 1,300, 1,400 calories, I can't go any further down, right? And I wouldn't let you as my client. And I do have some clients who are kind of at this point where we've been tracking and tracking and tracking, and I'm making sure that I'm gathering all of this knowledge. The next step is to reverse diet. We have to get your body used to eating more calories so that it can rev up its metabolism and get you functioning and thriving off of more calories. So then you can deduct from there. I've done previous episodes on reverse dieting, but essentially what that looks like is adding a certain amount of calories to your day for a certain amount of weeks, and then increasing them again for a certain amount of weeks and increasing them again very, very slowly, very, very methodically, so that you don't gain weight, but so that your metabolism starts to work faster, work better to adjust. So if you are consuming very little calories, and I mean anything under 1,500 calories, and you're not losing weight, and you are a grown ass adult, you need to reverse diet, because we need to get you up to 1,600, 1,700, 1,800 calories, because then your body will be happy there and you can cut some calories to lose weight. That's just a little bit on reverse diet. So I want to get into now how to kind of work these treats in, okay? So if we get your reverse dieted up and you're doing good and you're thriving and you're understanding your body and you've been tracking and you're doing these right things, you've got these foundational pieces set, let's go into the calories that I just talked about. So 2,189 calories per day was, in my example, this maintenance, right? We deducted 500 calories and we brought that down in a cut. This is this person, this woman in this body. She's wanting to lose some fat. She's 160 pounds right now. She wants to get down to, we'll put her goal weight at like 145. So we have her in fat loss. We deduct that 500 calories. We're at 1,689 calories. 1,689 per day. This is in a cut. She's doing great. If I break that down a little bit further, we have her protein set at 145 grams of protein. A very simple way to calculate your macros or to kind of distribute your macros once you have calories at 1,689. Once you have your calories, I want you first to take your goal weight and use that in grams of protein. So we're going to use this woman's example. She wants to weigh 145 pounds. That's her goal weight. So her protein is now going to be set at 145 grams per day. That is 580 calories. So out of the 1,689 calories she needs per day, 580 of them are going to be from protein. That, my friends, gives us 1,109 calories left over for fats and carbs. That's a lot, okay? You can absolutely fit in a drink, maybe not two every single day, but you can absolutely fit things in there, right? Let's bring this out to a week view, because daily, okay, 1,109 calories left over to, yes, obviously some of the things that you're eating to get your protein are going to have carbs and fats in them. Obviously, absolutely. So some of that is accounted for. That's why pre-tracking is great. That's why tracking is great in general. That's why having staple foods, so you know what foods are going to get you the most amount of protein and the least amount of carbs and fats, so you can spread those carbs and fats out throughout the day. They're not bad for you, but why not find foods with less carbs and fats so you can eat more, okay? But daily, yes, you do have some calories left over, and that's absolutely great. But what we want to look at is the weekly view, because daily we want to get pretty close, of course, but we never want to shoot for perfection. So you want to get pretty close to these calories per day. But what matters the most is your average. I love for my clients to see half pound to a pound of weight loss if their goal is weight loss. On average, a half pound to a pound weekly on average. Okay, so when we spread out the calories over the week period, this particular calculation comes out to almost 12,000 calories per week. it's 11,823 calories per week. If we do the same protein, so I take 145 grams of protein, times that by 7 days a week, that's 4,060 calories of protein. So for the week, you get almost 12,000 calories, and about 4,000 of that is from protein. That gives you almost 8,000 calories left over to spend on carbs and fats. So I did a little math here as well. Alcohol is 7 calories per gram. Protein is 4 calories per gram. Carbs are 4 calories per gram. Fat is 9 calories per gram. Alcohol, 7 calories per gram. So if you're looking at the back of the container, the nutrition facts, you can kind of do a little math there, okay? I did a White Claw. It's 100 calories, so you can absolutely fit that in. Wine, 5 ounce. Who drinks 5 ounces of wine? I don't know. 5 ounces of wine is about 120 calories. And then I threw some Doritos in here. 11 chips is 140 calories. Now, I know that no one's having one White Claw. I don't even like White Claws. I know that no one's having just 5 ounces of wine. And I know that no one's having, certainly not me, is having just 11 Doritos, okay? But when you're doing the math, you need to know these things. So I gave you this calorie allowance for this example. You can absolutely fit in a couple of White Claws a week. You can absolutely fit in a couple glasses of wine. You can absolutely fit in a couple servings of Doritos, right? Do you want to? Is this how you want to spend your calories? Because let's be real, there's no protein in alcohol. There's no protein in Doritos. There's no protein in Oreos. There's no protein in any of the things that I really want to eat, okay, in these examples. These snacks, these treats, this alcohol, you can fit it in. Of course you can. You have almost 8,000 calories in a week after you deduct your protein to play with. So you can absolutely fit in some treats and some snacks, okay? You have to plan for it. So get out MyFitnessPal, get out your Lose It app, get out whatever macro tracking app that you use and freaking plan on it. Here's the other thing. You have to stick with it, okay? If you say I'm going out tonight and I'm planned on having 2 pieces of pizza and I plan on having 2 White Claws, that's all you can have, okay? Because it has to come from somewhere. These calories have to come from somewhere. And if you sit there and you eat 3 pieces of pizza and you have 4 White Claws, you will then think, I suck, I failed, I went over my macros, I'm such a loser. When in reality, honestly, you probably only went over by 500 calories, which at the end of the day isn't huge. If you only went over your calories by 500 calories a week and you get 8,000, you can absolutely use the next 2 days to be a little under calories, okay? So, but that's what I mean is if you don't plan on it, if you don't track it, then when you mess up and then you think, oh my gosh, I blew it, I'm terrible, I had 2 more White Claws than I planned and I had an extra piece of pizza. But that's also the thing. If you are going to go have pizza and you're going to go have some drinks, you are going to have some kind of messed up judgment. Okay. That's what comes along with drinking. So that's the other part of this is if you can plan it out and you can plan for your calories, just like you plan for your money, nothing obsessive here. Okay. This is for your body. This is for your health. Okay. This shit is not optional. You can plan it out and it's good to do that. It's good to know, okay, I'm going out tonight. I'm going to hang out with my friends. I'm going to have some treats. I'm going to have some alcohol, but you have to freaking stop when you say you're going to. Otherwise, this cycle is going to keep going. So be sure that you can stick to it. And if you don't stick to it, be sure that you don't have a lot of negative self-talk and think that you're worthless because you're really not. You can add those calories in, enter it into MyFitnessPal, whether you're proud of it or not, doesn't matter. Enter it in there, see how much you screwed up, and you have the next 7 days to make up for it. It's not a huge deal, okay? But try not to make that your new consistent. We don't want to fuck up every weekend. That is something that I don't love when we're just always drinking more alcohol than we know we should. We're always drinking more than we planned. We're always saying, I'm going to stay on track this weekend. And we never freaking do. Figure it out. I'm telling you that you can log these things, that you can have these things. They can absolutely fit into your diet, fit into your macros, but you have to plan for them. Okay. If you don't understand this process, you'll think that certain foods are bad, certain drinks are bad, that they're off limits, that you can't have them. And you'll just keep starting to climb up that cliff, right? And then you'll just keep diving right over the top. And because that's just, you have to stop these habits somewhere. Okay. And if you do struggle with moderation, you might need to cut it off for a while, and that's okay. But just know that when you do want to add it back in, you can. And this is just my opinion here. I think it's okay to be an adult and say, I'm only going to have 2 pieces of pizza and 2 White Claws, and I'm going to freaking stop because I can control myself. I'm in control of my body. I have goals, right? If you drink too much, then your sleep is now messed up. Your decision-making is now messed up. So then you've probably eaten more than you wanted to. You probably stayed out longer than you needed to. You probably slept like shit. And now the whole entire next day is going to be a little messed up. But that's the result of the choices that you decided to make when you didn't have to, because you can very easily fit some fun into your weeks, into your days, into your life, into your diet. This can absolutely be done. But I wanted to be very clear in this episode that reverse dieting, for one, is very, very important because it allows you to enjoy life. If you're living your life on 1,300 calories, is that okay for maybe a cut for 6 weeks? Sure. Okay. But you're going to have to give up things. You can't fit 11 Doritos for 140 calories into a 1,300 calorie cut. Not very often anyways. But if your cut is 1,700 calories, yeah, you got a little more to work with, right? So if you're living off of very low calories, that's okay for a little while. But just know that that has to be a major cut phase and you have to reverse diet and go back up to maintenance. So reverse dieting is huge. Tracking is huge. These numbers that I gave you are just examples given from the information that I put into this TDEE calculator that I literally Googled. So it's very basic information, but it's accurate. It's accurate in the form of the calculation that they use, right? The method that was used to calculate that is correct. What's incorrect is our fucked up way of looking at food and dieting and cutting things out in this kind of messed up relationship that we have with social media and food and our bodies and our mentality and how we should look and how we should eat and what we can have and all or nothing and good and bad foods, right? That's the messed up part. So you can absolutely get your body to a place where you can eat more calories. You can absolutely fit in snacks and treats, but you absolutely have to do the work to get there. It's very foundational. And I promise you, once you do that work with a coach where you sit down and you have them explain to you, what is my TDEE? What does that mean? You track your food and here's where you're at right now for your numbers, right? You have to give your coach some information, accurate information, and the coach has to give you some information to go off of, and you have to trust that process. So make sure that you trust someone. But once you do that foundational information or that foundational work, you have that information. You now understand, and you have to do that work to get your body in a place that it will respond to these things. Okay. If you are in a place where you're like, no, I absolutely don't know how to do this, I don't understand, that's fine. I've been there as well. Trust me. I remember the first time someone gave me my TDEE and it was 1,900. And I was then doing Beachbody at the time. I was eating about probably 1,400 calories, to be honest. And this person said, you should be eating, for your body, you should be eating around 1,900 calories, given as much as you work out, muscle, all that. And I'm thinking, there is no freaking way. I might have talked about this on a previous episode. There's no freaking way I could eat 1,900 calories. Are you insane? I'm 5'3". I'm a tiny person. There's no way. But it's true. It's because I didn't understand it. So if I can learn it, you can learn it. And your body can do it. And it's the best thing that I ever did was learn macros, teach myself macros, learn macros, reverse diet up, build muscle, understand fat loss, and get to a place where I'm happy now eating some treats. And yeah, I can very easily get out of control. That's why I still track on occasion. That's why I still believe tracking is the number one thing that will help you be accountable. Because there are times when I'm out of control. At these baseball tournaments, I could very easily sit there and eat an entire bag of chips, all the protein bars, all the snacks, all the Twizzlers, right? I love snacks. I love chocolate. I love food. So it's very easy for me to get into that zone as well. I have to track it. I have to plan for it. Okay. It's not that sweet tooth never goes away. It's not something that you ever just don't want anymore, but you can learn to work with it. So I hope that this was helpful. If you go to that site, if you just go to Google and you type in TDEE calculator, again, I just clicked on the first one. It was very helpful. And the numbers, I think, across the board are going to be pretty basic for any kind of TDEE calculator. But make sure that you kind of divide that out and understand, the maintenance calories, understand the deficit, understand that you're probably not there right now, but you can start where you are and realize if you're eating too little, you have got to bump it up. You cannot be consistent on very little calories for the rest of your life. It's not good for you. You can't do it, and you'll just be stuck in this cycle. But I mostly wanted this episode to be a way for me to actually give you this tangible evidence of how you can fit these little calorie items into your fat loss phases, into your body recomp phases. You can have these things and still see results. So I hope this was really helpful. As usual, please reach out to me on Instagram if you have questions or if you love the episode or if you have episode suggestions. I love hearing from you. Love hearing from you. And I will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening to today's show. Go ahead and leave a rating and a review. And of course, follow the podcast so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And I would love it so much if you came to connect with me over on Instagram at Christy Castillo Fit. I will see you next time.